right, here we go.
Often imitated, the biggest win ever. Never duplicated.
The comments, I'm not ready.
Oh, the original. And is it going to be any different this week?
I don't think so, man.
Billy Kamel here.
Pause. I just forgot what I was going to say.
Circus here coming at you. First tournament, like, all right, Can Hawk, take it back, search a card. Man, I'm cruising. This is great. Join us each week as we track decks and see how they perform in tournaments around the community. This is the DLE Power Rankings. What's up, everybody? Circus here coming at you with this week's Power Rankings video. This week I have Herf sitting in with me because Kamel is out for the week. And as you know, what we do here is we track decks as they're played in tournaments, and then we rank them based on how they perform in those tournaments. So if a deck gets a first place finish, it gets 6 points. A second place finish is 4 points. A top 4 is 2 points. And a top 8 is a single point.
Fact. And they all have to be of the same variety, so they all have to have Swiss into a top 32. Best of 3 with a side, so like we want them to be similar. We want to be comparing all the same things.
That's right. And the tournaments that met that criteria this week were Damage Step, Battle Phase Prime, Battle Phase EU, Battle Phase Rising Sun, and the Dark World Legacy. So let's get right into it and see what the number 5 deck was. Number 5,
Hawk, take it back, search a card.
Ritual Beasts. All right, Ritual Beast coming in at number 5 this week. Representation obviously low because of the low amount of tournaments, but still a very high top 8 conversion rate at 33%.
Yeah, so I think that this deck definitely thrives from Neos and Blue Eyes like going down, like because those are by far its worst 2 matchups because of Spirit Dragon and Purgatrio. So if those are down, this deck is going to be up. So I definitely expect it to be very popular in the coming weeks.
Overall, though, 6 people play in the deck. That's barely more than 1 person per tournament.
Yeah, but hear me out. Next week, I definitely could see this deck being very good, much higher.
And why is that?
Just because, like I said before, like Blue Eyes and Invoke Neos are going down. So if those 2 decks are down, this deck is up. So if this deck was a stock, dude, I'd be buying right now. Honestly.
Right. So buy, but it does have 1 win in the Dark World Legacy Tournament, so congratulations to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 4.
Guys, you got to be careful when making machines against Desperado.
All right, Desperado coming in at the number 4 spot. Even though there was only 5 tournaments this week, it had pretty high representation, and it has what we see as a more standard top 8 conversion rate at 5%. And it did get a victory this week with Battle Phase Prime. Last week it had no victories whatsoever.
Yeah, this is like the most standard list possible. I think it's pretty funny. Actually, the way that this deck won is by Thunder Dragons misplaying twice, making Ptolemy. So it's kind of controversial as to whether or not they should have won Battle Phase Prime, but overall still pretty good.
And what's the strength of Desperado in this meta?
Basically, you just bring out Desperado, and then non-targeting destruction is really nice. You got Cup of Ace to get into the Karma Cuts. You have Fiend Comedian for a graveyard. Like it's really good just overall. But I think it will struggle more now that Blue Eyes is going down and Ritual Beast is coming up. So I would definitely look out for that in the next couple weeks.
Gonna get hit by the ban list?
Maybe. I'd have to see the statistics on the KC Cup. That's the easiest way to predict it because they don't care about tournaments. They only care about the ladder.
Number 3.
And GG.
Noble Knights. All right, and the biggest surprise is probably Noble Knights coming in at number 3 this week. Last week they had 1 tournament victory. This week they have 1 tournament victory, but it's not enough to get them into the top 2. Overall representation 76, that's still pretty strong with only 5 tournaments and a slightly higher top 8 conversion rate with 8%.
I think that the biggest strength of Noble Knights right now is that it's so much better than every other control deck because it gets so much card advantage. So the increased play of more OTK decks like Thunder Dragons and Onomat really, really hurt this deck. Like when Blue Eyes and Goki and all those decks were in the meta, this deck was pretty good because it had so much more. It was able to incur card advantage faster, but now the more OTK decks, the more struggles Noble Knights will have, in my opinion.
How do you feel about Cosmic Cyclone over Book of Moon?
I think that it's more of a meta call. I think Book of Moon in general might be better because, like I said, there are a lot of OTK decks right now, and it's coupled with back row protection. But Cosmic Cyclone is really good if you expect other back row decks. So
And
it's 50-50.
And we're seeing a move to 6 traps in the deck instead of what we were seeing before, upwards of 9.
I think that more traps is more correct because of, just like I said, because there are more OTK decks. If you go first, you really need those traps to protect yourself. And if you go second into the OTK decks, they don't really have that much back row, so you don't really need Cosmic Cyclone. But
All right,
we'll
so
see what happens.
You'd like to see the trap lineup expand again then?
Yeah, so probably like stuff like Hollow Life Barrier, stuff like that. This deck would become really, really good.
Number 2,
Battle phase, swinging for lethal.
Thunder Dragons.
All right, moving up one spot to second place. Thunder Dragons, obviously in third last week. Strong representation, 69 people playing the deck. Top 8
Nice.
conversion rate, 6%. So it's right in that single digits that we usually see. Herf needs to grow up a little bit here, but it did win Battle Phase EU. What do you think of this deck?
I think it's actually really strong right now. I would maybe adjust the hand trap lineup a little bit. I really like Skullmeister and DD Crow. I don't think Sphere Kribo in the main is that necessary. But overall, the deck absolutely slaps. I think that when you go second, you can OTK through pretty much anything. When you go first and you can set up Bouncer plus Roar, nothing's really OTKing you. So I think that overall this deck is pretty strong. It's going to definitely make people need to play Book of Moon to be able to go second into a Bouncer, but overall the deck is in a really sweet spot.
Yeah, do you see this deck doing well moving forward?
Yeah, I think this deck will continue to do well until either other decks enter the meta or there's a ban list.
I was going to say, how do you think it's going to be affected by the ban list? Too
I
early
don't
to
think
tell?
I don't think that this deck should get a ban list unless I see some different stuff from the KC Cup. But overall, I think it's a pretty fair deck just because A, it bricks so much, and B, it has, like, going first, like, yeah, you can set a Bouncer plus Roar, but, like, one negate isn't anything too insane for the meta, so I definitely think that it's a pretty fair deck.
All right, so let's take a look and see what is the number 1 deck of the week.
Let's go! Magnets!
Number 1,
All right, here we go. Onomatopoeia.
Onomats.
Moving all the way from 4th place into 1st, Onomats.
Oh
I did
my
definitely
God.
not see this coming. Representation a little bit lower than the other decks in the top 5, but look at that conversion rate, 18% Herf.
It's absolutely insane. I think that this deck is actually probably the most likely to get a hit in the ban list, honestly, in terms of skill or something in the main deck. It's absolutely insane.
Why is that?
Well, because Trunade is an unfair card that should probably just be banned anyways, as well as the skill is probably the best skill in the game. So for both of those reasons, it's probably going to get adjusted a little bit.
To the point where it can't be played, or just a little slap on the wrist?
I think that anything that plays Trunade needs a little bit of a slap on the wrist, like maybe Sister or Bolt to 2, just to like make you choose whether or not to play 1 and 1 or all of one, none of the other. But overall, I'm like the skill is just so broken. You can hit the monsters and you can still just replace them with anything that's garbage but has the name, and then you just swap it out. This deck. It'll take a lot to kill it, but it's just so strong where it'll be able to survive one hit on the ban list for sure.
Do you think it just got lucky this week because there were so few tournaments that maybe if we had 9 or 10, they wouldn't have been an issue, or they wouldn't have been first?
I really don't think so. I think that this deck is really thriving off of the slow meta that we just had of like Blue Eyes, Noble Knights, stuff like that. All of like these slow control decks. And now when you have Trunade, you just control decks just go out the window, as well as Gaga Wind allows you to play through so much disruption. And going first, you set up Bouncer plus Dweller, and pretty much no deck can break that, like fully break that without drawing tech cards. So it's just in a really good spot, in my opinion, overall.
Awesome. So good luck to Onomats next week. We'll see if you continue your reign at the top. Let's jump into the at-a-glance stuff here real quick. Overall representation, Desperado, number 1 this week.
Yeah, I think that like the low amount of Blue Eyes, Blue Eyes is still 45 though. So I mean, I don't know. With the Noble Knights, I don't know. It's just Desperado is just getting too gimmicky for the meta, in my opinion. Like Onomat's just gonna Trunade your back row and kill you. So it's like, I don't see Desperado doing too well.
All right, and the conversion rates. Now remember, your deck has to be played at least 20 times to make this list, so there weren't as many decks that made the list this week. But
Blue Eyes at
Automads,
4. Oh my god.
18%. That's amazing.
Blue Eyes at 4%.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awful.
Did not make the top 5 this week. In fact, we'll take a look at the main list here in a minute. But the thing that everybody is always waiting for now at the end of the video, and that is the tier list, Herf. Are you ready? This is the official DLE
The
tier list.
Let's go.
Data driven, not opinion based. But last week, this is what it would have looked like. Onomats and Thunder Dragons up at the top. Tier 2, Noble Knights and Desperado. And Tier 3, Ritual Beast, the Water Deck, and Blue Eyes.
Yeah, so Onomats and Thunder Dragons being at the top definitely indicates that we're starting to shift into a more OTK based meta, and then pretty much all the control decks are under it, trying to like side deck or main deck cards to counter the best 2 decks. So like Water, I could definitely see increasing in going up the list a bit. Otherwise, but Water and Ritual Beast are probably the to look out for, in my opinion.
You think they'll see the most movement maybe next week, maybe up into Tier 2 status?
Yeah, I think Desperado might go down a bit as Ritual Beasts are played more, because Ritual Beasts have a super free Desperado matchup and a decent Noble Knight matchup, and then Ritual Beasts into Onomat or Thunders. It's not amazing, but it's definitely not bad. So overall, I think that Ritual Beasts have a good chance of moving up.
And make sure to check out Herf's thoughts on the whole meta when he does Herf's meta mashup later this week.
Facts.
All right, so let's take a look at the main list, because I know that's what you guys want to see. How did it all shake out this week? There you go. Only
Nice.
13 decks, but look at that at the bottom. Yosenju's representing. Gotta love it. Getting in there. Lunalights, Satellars, Megaliths, all these are going to be in the Rogue Deck Roundup, so make sure to check that out. Cyber Dragons, not too bad.
Honestly, unpopular opinion, but Luna Lights actually might move up.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. We did see them with Lord of Scrubs get a top 8, so congratulations to him. But we're going to get out of here. Thanks for stopping by. You should get in our Discord because it's free. The tournaments are free. The new player help is free. Herf's love is free.
Not true.
Wow.
You have to subscribe for my love.
All right, I'm Circus. That's Herf. We'll see you next time.
Peace.